felt that a few times this season when I've been flicking back and forth between some of the Scottish games and the English games. Just the energy. The energy was so different. The atmosphere between the two places. Scottish football fans, I really think you guys need to enjoy what we're seeing in the league at the moment and what I hope we will see moving forwards with Scottish football. Now, I don't think it matters if Hearts go on to win the league this season or not. If they do, that would obviously make it a lot better. But I think what Hearts have shown this season is belief and possibility that things can change and things can happen. And we know Scottish football has been stuck in this Celtic and Rangers pure dominance season after season. Aberdeen have a little run at it last season. They do it a little bit under Derek McInnes. But the reality of the fact is, Celtic and Rangers have ran it, and the rest of the league has been relatively poor. It's been stuck. It's been stuck in a time that, look, some might say is better than what we've got right now, and that's kind of what I'm going to get into here. But it's been stuck. It needed to move on. And I think if you look around and you see the coaches and, you know, in particular, you see what Hearts are doing with Tony Bloom and McInnes there, it's starting to move up. It's starting to move up. And the reason why I say enjoy it is where England is at with the Premier League. Liverpool fan, top up behind me. The level is high. The players are high quality athletes. Unbelievable. But the Premier League's got to a point where it's so percentage-based now because of all the money that's flooded in and all the teams are better. And, you know, Bournemouth could go and take on most teams in kind of like the Europa League level. Could probably give teams a challenge in the Champions League level towards the lower end. We've seen the English teams dominate in terms of the Champions League group stage this season. So it's got itself to a point where everyone's so good. And, you know, we talk a lot about Arsenal and set pieces and the differentials and all that type of stuff, the style and that conversation. But it has come down to the minute differences. And there's a lot of talk about that being what Serie A became in the 90s. It was this kind of, you know, maverick place to go and play, but everyone kind of went there. That's where it was. That's where the telly coverage was. That's where TV footage was. That's where the money was going into, that eventually did become about small percentages too. And obviously Sky comes along with the Premier League and they take on the mantle and have had that really since, let's be honest, the kind of 2000s where I grew up and started watching it, those early 2000s up until now. But in particular, really, you know, since Abramovich comes in at Chelsea with money and then City coming and do it, and the money is just blowing up. So I think for Scottish football fans, enjoy it, because I hope the league's going to go on a journey. And I don't think it'll ever get to the absolute riches of what England is. But it will improve and more money will come into it, and it's going to make other teams better, and we're going to get to see these players come in like Claudio Braga, and you're looking around thinking, wow, and then, you know, when's he going to make the next step up, and who's he going to go to for the next step, for example, and whoever else may come into the league. There's a couple of good boys at Motherwell, and these coaches that come into the league that are then going to get picked off probably by championship clubs abroad, and it's a time for where things are going to happen and people are going to look at over their shoulder scouting wise for managers and players and go, let's watch what they do with him, let's see what happens here, and then we'll take him. So I just wanted to come on and record this and just say enjoy it, and I really hope that this is not just a one season anomaly. I don't think it is. I feel it in my gut that Scottish football is changing, and it's going to take time and year after year, and that's not to say that Rangers and Celtic won't still dominate the top of the league table. It's not what I'm saying right now. But what I'm saying is I think the league as a whole is going to get stronger, and with that, eventually TV will want to have more of the games, you know, on telly. Sky will be happy to take more of the games, and then money comes in, and money flows, and money makes the world go round, and that's the situation we're at. And Hearts, big blow for them last night away at St Mirren, really was. And the league is just, it's in such a different place. St Mirren, especially with Hearts going down to 10 men, aren't going to typically just sit in against Hearts. They're going to be quite direct and ferocious. And like, no one's at the point where they're feeling like they have to really sit in and just completely defend. There's a lot of freedom. You know, I think Falkirk are showing that in the league as well this season. Motherwell, as I've said, very well coached team are showing that this season. So there's just the freedom to be able to go out there and be on the front foot that you don't see at the Premier League level. And I think it's to be enjoyed, because it will not last forever. And at some point, Scotland fans, the characters that you have in the game will eventually go if the league does continue to get better. But enjoy the ride along the way. Enjoy the ride for as long as it's coming. And let's see what happens this season. Let's see how it finishes up. I can't wait for the split, because that's where things are going to get really interesting. As always, like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy these types of videos. And until the next one, have a good one, all right? Peace.